Hello again, everybody. Zach Attack is here with the Atakline for this Monday, April 28th, 2014. Hope everyone had a great weekend this weekend. I did. I had one gig on Friday, which was a elementary school gig. I ended my little spring tour, my tour I like to call it the Notorious ZAK tour this past Friday at North Hill Elementary School in Rochester, doing a mother-son night. They had like an activities night with a bunch of activities for the kids, mostly boys. That they had a reptile booth with a bunch of reptiles and snakes you can pet, karate demos. They had soccer courts, indoor soccer courts, Lowe's building things, and a lot of other festivities, including hip-hop dancing. Myself providing music for this hip-hop dancer instructor, this guy named Nate. He was a very good dancer instructor. And I had a chance to let all the kids do all the dancing following all the activities. Like, they came in, did a cha-cha slide, Cupid shuffle, all those dances. I didn't do Cupid shuffle, but I did all those Margarita, all that stuff. Happy, and all the parents and the kids. It was a fun show, fun way to end my little Notorious AK tour. I want to thank everybody who attended that show. I got 2 more gigs this week, taking up my new little tour, I like to call the Total Nonstop Attack Tour, TNA for short. Splash Bash Friday, 25th, wedding anniversary, Saturday. Now let's get down to the entertainment news for this day and week, starting with your number 1 movie. Can we get a new number 1 album and a new number 1 single? At least we got a new number 1 movie. After 3 weeks, Captain America finally gets kicked off by the other woman. Of course, Cameron Diaz, her biggest hit in years, getting $24 million. Wow, Brick Mansions hit like a brick. Bomb, bomb, bomb with $9 million. Quiet Ones bombed even worse, $3 million. I never felt more happy to see a movie bomb since Grudge Match and Arnold's movie, Sabotage. I'm glad to see the Quiet Ones fail. So there you go. Other Woman, number 1, but not for long because of Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 coming out this Friday. Number 1 for sure. Now, on with some music news with Beyonce and Jay-Z. Now, a few weeks ago, there was rumors flying about Jay-Z and Beyonce planning a stadium tour. The rumors became almost true when Rose Bowl announced the show that they had green-lighted an upcoming show of Beyonce and Jay-Z. Now, it's not somewhat true. It is officially true. Jay-Z and Beyonce officially announced their stadium tour. There was rumors it was called the Mr. and Mrs. Carter Tour, kind of a playoff of Beyonce's recent tour, the Mrs. Carter Tour, but it's called the Under One Tour. It will kick off in Miami June 25th. Now, it hit all the big cities, including Chicago, New York, Toronto. Detroit is missing. Now, Jay-Z and Beyonce are 2 predominant African-American artists going on a big tour, and yet they're not playing a city that is predominantly African-American, of course, referring to Detroit. But I bet you they'll add it eventually. But tickets go on sale for the shows they did announce later on this week, I think this Thursday. That's when we're in general on sale. You'll be Miami, Cincinnati, Boston, Toronto, Baltimore, all the big stadiums all around the world, Soldier Field, Chicago, and all the big cities. So there you go. Beyonce and Jay-Z announces the stadium tour. No Detroit show yet, but I bet you they may add it. While one couple are touring together, another couple may be having problems. Or maybe not as many problems as we thought. Reports were flying today about Paul Simon and Edie Brickell getting arrested over the weekend for a family dispute. For a disorderly conduct. That they were arrested this past Saturday night for a rare argument at their home in New Canaan. A call from the singles' home. Their home dialed 911 Saturday night and hung up, police chief said on Monday. Officers who responded found minor injuries and believed there was a case of domestic violence. They were given each a misdemeanor summons, and one of them agreed to leave and go to another location. There was aggressiveness on both sides, the police chief said. They're both victims and they have children involved, and they're trying to be cautious of that. But today, even though they had a dispute, they went to court today holding hands. And they said they did not feel threatened by the other. They are here today together. They get along just fine. That the other is not threatening. I said they don't need a protective order. Even Paul said to the court, we're going to back home today. We're going to see our son watch our son play baseball. They were asked to return to court on May 16th, so it's kind of a weird situation for Paul, Simon, and Edie Brickell having a rare argument. You know, been married since 1992, and Paul's old as hell, and I've seen him in concert with Sting, though. He was awesome. He's 70. So it's like, to hear something like this happen to him and Edie Brickell, I was surprised Edie Brickell wasn't playing 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover that night. Step out the back, Jack. But anyway, overall the best for them, but at least there's apparently from the looks of it, they've shoved this little incident behind them and not letting it bug them. So there you go. Paul Simon and Edie Brickell arrested for disorderly conduct, accusing him of abuse, but they were on a firm front today in court. Now, speaking of people with problems that are being settled in court, should I say, because Paul and Edie were in court today. They apparently showed a firm front. And speaking of settling things, especially out of court, of course, the settlement has been announced for the Queensryche story. Now, of course, there's been recently 2 Queensryches. Since the firing of Geoff Tate, the iconic original lead singer, there have been 2 Queensryches as a legal lawsuit was going down to see who would get the rights to everything. So while this was confusing all around, confusing the fans, the confusion's over. Last week there was rumors that they have settled, but now they've finally publicly disclosed their settlement. That the original members of Queensryche, Michael Wilton, Scott Rockenfeld, and Eddie Jackson, with their new lead singer, Don La Torre and Bunker Lundgren, would now be the sole entity recording and touring as Queensryche. They now have the rights to it. A lot of people like saying who is going to get the rights to Queensryche. Well, although Geoff Tate is not only not a part of Queensryche anymore, doesn't get the name, which makes a lot of sense because the lead singer getting the rights, I think the original guy should get it. Even though Geoff Tate's like the guy, but even though that Geoff didn't win the battle, he may end up winning the war. He got in return the rights to perform Operation Mindcrimes 1 and 2 as special performances. Kind of like what Roger Waters did with The Wall as an agreement with Pink Floyd. With his never-ending war tour. So there you go. Queensryche is back to being one Queensryche with the original members and the new lead singer. While the original lead, Geoff Tate, will go on as a solo artist and perform Queensryche albums, specifically Mindcrime 1 and 2. Now, with some musical TV news, last December, NBC had a rating success with a live version of The Sound of Music. Despite getting mixed critical waves, it was a huge hit, especially with Carrie Underwood taking the iconic role played by Julie Andrews to mixed response. But other networks are jumping on the live bandwagon. Fox has just announced they're doing a live Grease next year. Like, what happened? Like, when they announced The Sound of Music last year, The Sound of Music live, a lot of people, loyalists, traditionalists who were used and raised on the original had their thoughts about it. And I bet you a lot of Grease fans like me who loved the 1978 film may have a mixed reaction towards the announcement of Fox doing a live Grease. I love the original. It's nothing that can top it. But hey, I want to see what they will do with it. I think it'll be very interesting to see a new adaptation. Despite almost being a traditionalist when it comes to this Grease thing, see a new Grease be very interesting to see how it goes. It'll be airing sometime next year. It'll be based on the 1971 musical, along with the 1978 feature film. Of course, the 1978 film was really different from the Broadway musical. It had different songs in it, especially the title track Grease, written by Barry Gibb and performed on the soundtrack by Frankie Valli. So we'll see how Fox does in their live adaptation. Like I said, hey, NBC's doing Peter Pan live this winter. So it's like, hey, musicals are big hits again when it comes to these live things. Sound of Music Live did well. And like I said, Fox is now doing Grease live sometime next year. No specific air date in 2015, but it'll be very interesting to see how Fox does with Grease live next year. And that is it for this attack line for today. With that in mind, you've been attacked by the news thumbs up. Thank you once again for watching. See you all later, everybody. Yeah.